another retro pickups video from myself. It's been an interesting week so far. I went back to a degree of normality in Scotland. Everything's opened up again. One of those scenarios though where I haven't really visited that many shops yet, so I'm still kind of dipping my toe in the water a little bit and maybe just kind of getting out just a little bit. I did visit a couple of charity shops this week, and slim pickings, to be honest with you. The stuff that was there, I would rather have just left, to be honest with you, in a lot of the cases. I did pick up 2 games from the charity shops, nothing really exciting. I'll show you. I got Bioshock 2, which I've played on the PC already, but it's a good game, and you know, I picked it up, it was £1, so I thought, why not? It's complete with the manual. Yeah, 360 stuff, it seems to be what I'm finding in most shops. Less PlayStation 3 for some reason, I don't know why. And again, I picked up Halo 3 ODST. Well, the reason I picked this one up was because it was the only Halo game I think that I don't have for the 360. So I can't really remember what the difference is between Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST. Is it just, it says new hero, new campaign and new multiplayer? How can it be Halo 3 if it's got a new campaign and a new hero? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, maybe give this one a go, see what it's all about. I don't know, any good or not. But like last week when I spoke to you guys and I showed you all those amazing Master System pickups that I made, I've just went back and spoke to my friend Peter again and bought a load more stuff from him. So that's basically what happened. I got paid on the 27th and I'd already spent a fortune, you know, by that day. So yeah, it's I've got some good stuff again to show you from Master System, and it's bringing me a lot closer to my goal of the Master System of collecting every single European and US exclusive release. So I'll show you what I've got in a wee second. Let me just sort this out a little bit here. Yeah, some of these games I have already got. I've just kind of gone for the upgraded versions, or maybe I've gone for a variation just while I can get them, because you know, Peter that I've been buying these things from, I've kind of known him for a long time on the Sega8bit.com forums. So I kind of started out on that website about 20 years ago now, 2004 I started it, and Peter's been a member ever since then, and me and him have kind of occasionally pinged messages back and forward. He started another website back then at the time, I think it was SegaMasterSystem.tk, which is unfortunately now gone, and it was Sega Master System Norway at the time. I think he was based in Norway at the time, so we went back years, you know. I'm just sorry that Peter's selling off his collection now, but you know, I kind of hope that maybe if he feels that he's selling it off and it's maybe going to someone who's going to appreciate it just now, then you know, that's great. But I'll show you what I've got anyway. I've got Rocky, this week's Master System Challenge, and it's the US version, which I don't currently have, so that's good. It's all complete in there with the manual. Thanks, Peter. I'm looking forward to getting a sore finger on that one again. I can only do that challenge maybe once a day, it just kills me otherwise. What next? You probably remember on, I think a couple of weeks ago, if you've seen the previous videos, I picked up Bomber Raid, and I was a bit disappointed with the condition of it, but Peter's sent me another one. Bomber Raid, again, Black Activision version, except this one is in nice condition with the manual. Very happy with that. That's one that I'm kind of keeping. I don't know why, I just really love these Black Activision boxes. There's one more that I've still got to get, which is the Activision Silver Box version of Galaxy Force, which I'm going to try and track that down soon. So another US version of Monopoly. This is just one that I picked up just purely from an opportunistic point of view. I don't know, I've got the original one for the Master System, for the European version, sorry I should say, and it's one of those games that I don't play very much, but I have played a couple of times, and it's always actually been really good fun to play with the family. It's harder for the family to enjoy these kind of things nowadays, but you know, I think they're still good games and there's still good times to be had in these. So I mean, you can see past the graphics now, but interestingly though, this version, it came with the manual and things like that. The US release also is the one that sounds a bit like the disease. You can see there, it's the mono-poly version. So it's a misprint cartridge, and that was a very common misprint for the Master System. Interesting, I always thought that this sounded like some kind of disease. I don't know why. You've got the mono-poly. Sounds like a bad thing. So, interesting one. So it's good to get a kind of misprint and a US version, so that's good. One that I've talked about recently, I guess, is Ghostbusters. So again, I've got the US release of Ghostbusters now. Again, it's nice and complete in there, and it's just good to add these things to the collection. These are some of these kind of things, although they seem like really kind of basic generic games, these are some of the kind of things that I identify most with from the Master System early years. These are the kind of games that I was buying when I was younger, so I'm quite happy to get a European and a US release of these just to keep and just to kind of look at occasionally. There is little differences like the text in the back and things like that, but it's mainly for a collection point of view, but you know, happy to get them. Another one, Great Volleyball. Now, for some reason, this is the US, so this is actually a European version that I've got here. I don't know why. It's a really common game, right? But it's the case that every single copy that I found seems to be dog-eared in some way, so it's just good to get a copy which is nice and clean. The manual and everything, it looks brand new basically. You know, I was getting ones in the past, I think I'd bought something like 5 copies of it, and it's quite common to get this game. Every single one had writing on the spine, or you know, the insert was dog-eared, or the cartridge label was knackered, so it's just good to know what you're getting. You know, if you buy someone from a fellow collector, then that's at least something that you know you're going to get a good version. So I'll move on to the next one. This again is another variation, right? It's Great Soccer, which is the American version, American USA release of World Soccer. So this should not be confused with the Great Soccer card game that goes for a fortune. This is like the really, really common variation version for the stateside. I'm guessing when these were released in America, they just wanted to cash in on or retain this great series. I don't know, it seemed like a smart move, to be honest with you, to me. Kind of great, you know, great volleyball, great soccer. I can't even remember what the other ones are. Great football, I think. No, is it great football? Or the other ones? Great golf. Great volleyball. Yep, know that one. Great basketball. Yeah, there's a load of greats. Neither of which is, you know, particularly good, rather than great. But hey, you know, it's nice to get these variations, as I say, put them in the collection. Interestingly though, this one here, if you read up in the top corner, it says sports pad optional, which is interesting. That's all I'll say just now. So, next one I got, this is one of my childhood favourite games and my all-time Sega Master System favourite box art, Cyborg Hunter. It's just a piece of art. Look at that. How cool is that box art? That to me, as a kid, you know, obsessed with things like Terminator and, you know, robots from Transformers and Cobots and all the rest of it. Seeing that box art for the Master System. Now obviously I had the European release of this, which had the white around it here, but how cool does that look in Activision Black? That is the thing. And again, it's all nice and complete inside. I did have the Mark III version of this at one point. Originally it was called Borgman, and it was again based on a Japanese anime series. But there's a lot of differences in the Western release, but it's the same game essentially. But yeah, I'm just really cool to have this. I don't know why, I just love these Activision boxes, I think they're great. Next, right, one of the really good ones. I've been looking for this one for a while now. Terminator 2, the arcade game. Not to be confused with Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is the arcade game, which is kind of like it feels like it should be a shooter. It feels like it should work with a light gun, but it doesn't. So it's a cool game, and you kind of go along, and it's like a third person view, and you can shoot Terminators and all different kind of bad guys, basically just kind of blast them away with a machine gun. But it is a really nice game. It's quite a difficult game, I think. I don't know why I find it difficult. I have this for the Mega Drive, but getting it for the Master System as well, you know, it's just another one off the list, and it's actually quite a good game. I'm going to give it a proper go at some point. I've only ever gave it a quick try, to be honest with you, but yeah, just great to get this. Thanks very much for this, Peter. Okay, so I talked a wee bit about the sports pad being required for great soccer. So this is another clue for another thing that I've got here. Sports pad football. Again, it requires the sports pad. It's in the name itself, sports pad football. Now forget for 1 second that I'm Scottish and I have no idea how to play American football, which this is. So it's sports pad football, American football. Yeah, I've no clue how to play this game because I don't know American football, but I'm glad to get it. But the question is, how could I possibly play these games when it says that the sports pad is required? Aha! This was also something I bought for Peter. Sorry, pardon me while everything falls down here. Hang on a second. The Sega sports pad. Look at that. How lovely is that? You've got a big, what looks like a big snooker ball in here to play with. Move that around. Get some sports pad action on the go. You've got the options here of control or sports, and you've got this button here. Look at this, is 1 dot or 4 dots. I have no idea what that button does, and that excites me. Yeah, I'm going to give this a go later on. Peter did mention that it might not be working quite as well as what he thought it should work, but you know, I'm sure it's nothing that I won't be able to kind of fix with a bit of a clean. And I mean, it is a sports trackpad at the end of the day, so I can imagine that after 30 years there might be a bit of gunk in there, you know, just kind of blocking that up. So like everything, cleaning, a wee bit of maintenance, I'm sure it'll be fine. So all pretty cool pickups, I'm sure you will agree. But the star of the show this week, and I'm thrilled to get this, I really am thrilled to get this, because again, it's one of these games that I thought I would never get. It's always been too expensive. Now, the thing I would say about this is, it's not complete, and I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. It's a printed cover, basically, but the game is in there itself, and that's kind of all that matters to me, to be honest with you. But anyway, it is Power Strike 2, baby. Oh yeah, you feeling that, Power Strike? I know you're feeling that, because I'm feeling it too. Feeling good. Oh yeah. So, somebody has in the past printed a manual for this, which is, I thought it's quite an amusing thing to do, to be honest with you. I kind of stapled it together. So yeah, I don't have the original manual or anything like that, but look at that. Somebody's gone to all that effort of creating the wee manual, and obviously the cartridge is the main thing, is the prize here. It's a great game. I tried it out earlier, played it before, but it's interesting though because I'm getting into the point now where I'm getting games now that I actually never had in the past. So even when I was at my kind of peak of Master System collecting back in 2008 or something like that, where I think it was 4 games away from a full set, this was one of the games that was missing from that 4. So how brilliant is that? I've finally got a copy of Power Strike 2 and I'm thrilled. So yeah, that is pretty much my pickups for this week. Again, a brilliant week, and a huge thank you to Peter again for selling me these games, giving me the opportunity to buy them. Really appreciate it. And it's just good to see, you know, a fellow collector, fellow Master System enthusiast looking out for, you know, somebody else in the same situation. You know that I'm going to look after these games, Peter, so thanks very much, and it's brilliant. I'm so pleased. So I've only just finished filming the pickups video and I've just realised something that I need to mention. My game total for the Master System, I'm just counting up. I've got a spreadsheet, I used to track everything, I'll show you in a wee second. But yeah, unbelievable. I have now hit 306 games for the Master System. 306! Push me for that 300. I feel as if, you know, that is pretty good going. And I know there is a lot of variations in there, and, you know, I don't know what the actual total of unique actual games is, but in terms of every single one that I've got is a individual release, so I'm quite pleased with that. I think I've done quite well considering, you know, I've only really been at this for, you know, the last year since the start of the kind of lockdown period. So yeah, it's brilliant to see that total going up so quick. I'll show you the games I've still got left to find. If anybody can locate any of these games or wants to give any of them up or sell them, please let me know, and I'll do my best to try and accommodate. Obviously I can't buy everything, that's the unfortunate truth. I would buy everything if I had all the money, but you know, we live within a budget, you know, so money is finite, so do the best I can. If you have any of these games for sale, please let me know, and I'll definitely consider buying them from you. So anyway, that's all I've got time for. Well, it's not all I've got time for. I can talk as long as I want. It's my channel at the end of the day. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wish you farewell, and thanks very much for watching. And I don't know if I'll be back next week. I've kind of spent a lot of money, so I'll just see when the next video comes out. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's good. Anyway, feel free, leave me a comment, like and subscribe to see the future content, and I would really appreciate that if you do that. I'm not chasing numbers or anything like that. I'm purely just all about making connections and talking to people and being part of the community. So yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time.